Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of My Little Conversations. My name is Wanjiko Edna, and I am glad to be on this episode 53. This far we have come. So, I had a bit of a story time. I don't know if I should call it a story time, but it sort of is. But before that, a bit of housekeeping. I know today there's no background noise, no nice cool jazz music or anything. But yeah, I think we'd rather have an episode than none, waiting for background music. But next week we try harder, I guess, or we'll do better. So anyway, so there's something I listened to sometime this week, or was it last week? And the topic for that discussion was just start. And most people will tell you just start, even if you have the little that you do. Weanza tu, you start with what little that you have. And I think people sometimes will try to cover up how hard it is to quote unquote just start, but there's so much to the just starting, because hear me out, there is a lot of conflict probably in your mind. You're like, there's so many what ifs. There's a good, there's a bad. And maybe sometimes the bad will outweigh the good at some point, because you will toil and maybe you're like, hey, what was this all for? But sometimes you look back and there's ways in which you've grown. It could be soft skills, so you don't even probably notice because there's nothing tangible to like show for what you've done. But then sometimes when you reflect and maybe try out something you tried out in the beginning and you weren't able to do it and now it's better, I guess that's when you see the progress. But before you can quote unquote just start, there's so much more to it, because there's imposter syndrome. You're like, hey, nitaweza kweli, and your mind is probably battling and is like, hey, there's no way to toboa it this time round, or there's no way you can do this. Or probably you're a serial procrastinator and like you have postponed so many times and you somehow just convince yourself it's too late to start. But when you decide to just start, you'll probably still procrastinate before you just start. What else could we possibly talk about? There could be maybe skills that you'll need to start off. And even if you need to just start, you'll have to learn the skills first, or observe first, or talk to someone, ask them, okay, I see that you have done this successfully, but how did you do it? How did you start? And sometimes you need the guidance, and it calls for vulnerability. And sometimes we don't have the privilege to be as vulnerable as we wish we would be, because the world is very critical of everything, every little thing that we do. And I don't know if it's just that people forget that we're all doing this for the first time. I don't think anyone's rehearsed how this life thing should go, and then, waka get a rerun and they're like, okay, round 2, I know what to do. So yeah, sometimes, of course, you just need to start. Like, I think you just need to dive right in and just start. Everything be damned, like ukipatana na hurdles in there, that's when you'll solve them. Ukipatana na the good in there, that's when you'll celebrate. Ukipatana na the boring in there, that's when you'll just sit with it. But yeah, with the little knowledge that you may have, just start. And I know I said I have a story, or this is a story, and you're wondering, okay, where's the story? So at some point I don't know if it's last year or but one, I decided, you know what, let me try out editing a bit of videos and see how hard is this editing thing, make something cool out of a bunch of videos or photos or whatever. And at first like I remember getting acquainted to the app itself that I was using, or my app of choice was nilikuwa na shanga huku ni wapi. I watched tutorials, I tried a bit, and then I was like, ama maybe it's just not meant to be. But then also in that phase of like these things seeming so difficult, I realized sometimes you see the perfected skill that someone else has, but you don't know the work it took to get there. So yeah, I encouraged myself in Kajambia, you know what, I will probably not enjoy the process, but in the end I'll be so proud of myself and I will enjoy what I see myself doing or see myself making. So long story short, I had a horrible phone. Okay, the phone was not horrible, it was functional, but barely. And then it got stolen. And sometimes I tell myself that's a blessing in disguise because I couldn't even take a nice photo of myself with that phone. It was just an interesting phone. Let's just call it that. I could call, I could send M-Pesa and receive M-Pesa and text on WhatsApp and online. And I was like, okay, I think that's enough. But when it was stolen, I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to just get a phone. I will get the phone that I want. So, of course, I sacrificed for a bit. And yeah, when I got my new phone, I was like, you know what? The idea that I had, actually, yeah, I started trying to edit last year, but one. So that last year I lost my phone, didn't have a phone most of the year. Yeah, when I got my phone is when I was like, let's try this thing again. So I started taking videos because that's obviously the first step. You do need to take the videos first. And I did enjoy that bit. But then when it came to the editing, I would sit with these videos and for a minute I criticized my work so much to the point where I would just delete the videos that I have, or I just look through them, I like lay them out on the app that I'm using to edit and I'm like, like, is this gonna be interesting to anyone if I post it? Because of course for me to see my progress, it just makes sense to post somewhere. So I decided, you know what, let's take it slow. Let me do the basics. Let me do what I'm used to first. So I took photos, I'd post them, and I'd be like, okay, they don't look bad. And I know I should be saying they look good, not they don't look bad, but yeah, so I actually got views and likes and everything, and my friend would actually physically come up to me and be like, hey, you started posting on TikTok. And I'm like, yeah, we could try to, trying to be modest. But anyway, so I still have a lot of footage that is untouched. So disclaimer, I'm not saying all of this from a point of perfection. Ama nimefika, ama I know what I'm doing, but we're just trying over here. So anyway, so most of the videos that I edited and posted already, nilikuwa na like some sort of motivation behind, business wise. Like it's things that I would be able to benefit money wise, like if I use TikTok as like a marketing platform. So yeah, so there's one I did for my mom's business. I posted it. There's only 2 videos that I've actually like gone to the extent of editing, but the most recent one is the one I'm talking about in this case. I've sat with that footage for like almost a whole month, and a part of me wanted to delete it, but I saw that it's not, like I kept putting myself down with words, and I'm like, uko sure like these videos that you've taken are even, like, is anyone really gonna watch them? Is it worth anything? Like, uko sure? And I was trying to convince myself, but I sat with it for so long. And then I think one Sunday evening I was bored and I just opened the editing app I use, and I just laid out the videos. I tried to lay out the order in which I want these videos to follow, like to compile a video. And somehow came up with a 1-minute video. And because I already do voiceovers, this was actually my first voiceover to do for myself. I do voiceovers, but none, I've never done any on any of my videos. That's also because I really didn't have videos up until this point. But anyway, so that was my first voiceover, and it was like a big video in my opinion, because TikTok crashed after I posted it. So I couldn't even open the app like 3 days later. But like a week-ish after I posted, I opened the app and I have like 4,500 views and like I don't know how many likes. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This is nice. This feels like motivation. So as much as I'm still sitting on footage that I have that I'm obviously convincing myself to edit, like I've actually decided that I will edit as much as I can and post as much as I can. Because I had criticized myself so much and I had belittled myself so much or my work so much to the extent that self-doubt was creeping in. And all I needed to do was just start. With the little knowledge that I have, just start. Do something, So, So my advice to you, just start. With whatever you have, with whatever little you have, just start. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to outsmart anyone or outdo anyone. You're your own competition. Look at your progress afterwards. And you'll definitely be better. Right now, my biggest progress is not even the views that I got, but my ease to now navigate the editing app. I take more time going through the overview for the video itself and the shots and how I want them to follow each other, rather than using that time to try and navigate the app itself. So baby steps, small. I of course have procrastinated. That was the end of me. That was my little devil, if I would call it that. So my advice to you, it may not seem that easy, but if starting for you means procrastinating or over criticizing your own work, because again, if you don't criticize it, then you're overconfident, and that's also not very good. But anyway, nikianza story mingi, I will talk until, I don't know, the end of time. So that's it for me for today. So my advice to you, if you don't take anything else from this story, is just start with whatever little you have, or with whichever skill you want to build. Just start with whatever you have. And starting could look different for everyone. So with that, I will definitely post my TikTok account link on here. So go watch that video. Please like it. It's at like 4,800 views now. So please make sure you make like 5K at least. Thanks. And I will definitely appreciate. And let's close it off over here. I have been your host, Wanjiko Edna. And definitely also follow this podcast for more episodes. And bye.